Hello, traders. It's 8:02 a.m. Chicago time on Monday, the 23rd of August, 2021. Thanks for joining me today. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This is episode number 2057. Let's just jump right into the pre-market summary sheet. Risk on today as the market opens in a gap up after Friday's push higher. We are in a crucial area here in the S&Ps up against that former triple top or whatever it is between 44, 51, and 53. Again, risk on market posture. We have the Russell leading the pack today, Russell pushing higher along with the Dow, and even crude has taken a turn. Look at that, crude up 3% at $64 currently. The S&P is up 14 points, and we see flows neutral to down slightly for the 10-year note, the 30-year bond, and the Euro bond. Oh, interesting. What is going on here? Let's see. Yeah, it's interesting. I gotta look into it. I think I am loading the wrong. 1 second. Let me fix that. I'm loading the wrong chart. That's why. Sorry about that. Just need to make sure the information I'm providing is accurate and correct. So overnight inventory is 98% long. This should update in a second here. 98% long. There it is. Automatically updating. Yeah, I was loading the wrong chart. Thank you for that, Aaron. Inventory. So we'll go over that in a minute. So anyway, risk on. Bitcoin pushing up against the 50,000 has broken through. Ether's back above 3,300. This morning pre-market, JD.com, which is a massive retailer out of China, some 34 billion or something in revenue. 39 billion. Sorry, yeah, 38 estimated, 39 billion, just massive. Never heard of them before, but I looked them up today and I was really dumbfounded there. Palo Alto after the close, Palo Alto Networks after the close. That's about it for earnings. And the key factors today, COVID surge continues. There are also storms hitting the U.S. and just general weather problems around the globe. There's a standoff among the Democrats in the House on the U.S. infrastructure bill. This thing just doesn't seem to want to get voted in. Today, as far as market releases, 8:45 Eastern, we're looking for market manufacturing PMI, services PMI, and composite PMI at 9 o'clock Eastern. We're looking for 9 o'clock. No, that's central, actually. That's incorrect. Consumer confidence, flash, and then 10 o'clock. It says 9, but it's 10. Existing home sales. I need to adjust the time on there. So 15 minutes after the open, market PMI, a half hour after the open, consumer confidence in Europe, in the Eurozone, and the U.S. is going to have existing home sales a half hour after the open. The S&P has a P-shaped profile that is anticipated to be short covering. 161,000 contracts traded. The overnight inventory is 98% long. The range is 21.5 points. Remember, the mode of the range is 23. And the normal range in the overnight session is 39. That's listed just below in the overnight stats. The volume's pretty much in line. and the point of control is at 44.52, and it's quite prominent. Let's take a look at what was expected on Friday versus what we got. This is from Friday. We saw the market go vertical on the open, was looking for it to chop around a little bit and then push into 38. Push into 38. That is the key area. And the expectation is once it gets up into 38, we're expecting chop up here. So the primary scenario is to consolidate up in this 44.15 area, push through to 2022, consolidate there, and push to 38. That was the expectation and plan on Friday, so we know where to hang on and where to scale and close. Here's what we have on Friday's actual. I'm going to clean this chart up a little bit here. And what we had is an open that pulled back to 4,400 on the dot. And then we squeezed just short of the 14.15, pulled back. Remember, the next level is 22, which is right here. 22, chop a little bit. Didn't chop as much as I expected. And then we push higher, then we chop a bunch. So resistance becomes support, and we hold the 23 support, and we chop around there before pushing to 39. Remember, the high on Friday was expected to be 38. 38 went to 39, pulled back into the chop area again, the 44.30 area, and then ended up closing right on top of the MC point of control at 44.38. This is still, all of last week was a very logical market. We had a market that was respecting the key levels, and it seemed like short to intermediate time frame. It was in control in general because it held prior highs, prior lows, intermediate lows. The balance low at 64.75 was one tick to 64.50, and so on and so forth. And now we are well on our way to pushing through the 44.50. We're trading way up here. We're trading at 44.52. So we are way up here on the chart. So we've cleared this entire high volume node between 44.15 and 44.51. And remember, 51 was a triple top previously. So that's what we had. Here's the composite. Gonna hop right into the composite to just show where we are. We had again 64.50 below the 64.75 and the 64.50 below the 64.75 and the 65.75 in the 43 handle. So what we have is several touches. There's one right there. There's one right there. And now we have a triple bottom. It one ticked. We had a one tick failed auction on the open on Thursday. We one ticked the balance low and we shot straight up. And if you recall, the balance is right here from the 23rd until the non-farm payrolls, which was on the 6th, right here. This is the balance zone we were in last week. And if you recall, the point of control of this balance zone was 4,400, and that's the low of Friday. So based off of the 4,400, and it pushed back into the point of control the prior week at 38, the high volume node at 38, and we ended up finishing last week. Look at last week. So if I clean this up, you'll notice that last week, the point of control for last week is where? 37.50. Where was it the week before? 38. This is what I mean by saying that it's very well structured, the trade. So I'm expecting, the main expectation today is chip chop around this area. I'm expecting a battle around the 44.50 to 38 to 44.50 to 38 to 56. That area is, and the overnight high is 55 even. I'm expecting this area to be relatively choppy today. So that's the key thing we're looking for. Look at what was accomplished last week. We pushed up, we had a pullback, equal high, and then we're back in balance, and it opens up depending on how easily we push through this area at 44.52 to 56. We may be seeing new highs targeting around 44.80, which, by the way, coincidentally, checking the full depth today, the 44.80 has a huge block offer that's been resting there for some time. So bringing it into today's session, the current overnight session, let's turn off the stock zones. We opened back up on Sunday. We did not give up any ground on the reopen. So we settled at 44.37, I believe, on Friday, and we opened right at it. So there was no gap, nothing to price in over the weekend. And then we just immediately push up. We chop around for a little bit. Asia opens, and boom, off to the races we go to 44.55, and then we just hold sideways, thereby building a point of control at 44.52, and we're holding steady right on top of the 44.52. We're above the overnight VWAP, or the full session VWAP, and the full session mid currently, with what is a relatively weak high. So we're opening in a gap. Gap rules apply this morning, but we're opening in a gap in balance. So I'm expecting a relatively choppy trade. The delta is positive in the overnight session. The bulls have the ball. And if you look at what it has done overall, it's kind of murky in the overnight session, but what we have is basically almost an inverted head and shoulder pattern here. If you're into that sort of thing, it's kind of a quirky looking one in the overnight session, but in the day session, it's pretty obvious that we have an inverted. This would be the head. This would be the pivot, and then it continued higher on Friday. This is a reversal pattern, and I think the swing bottom's in for now, unless some major bad news kicks in. So if you are someone who's bearish or holding a put type position, or selling calls or something like that, you might want to take a more defensive position, is my opinion. So with that being said, let's bring you over to the heat map. Looking at the heat map, if I scroll up, you can see there's quite a bit of size, and you can see that in the MBO, there's a huge offer there, 1,100 contracts on the offer, and about 900 of it or so, whatever percent is that purple of the full bar, is one or two blocks. That's been sitting there for some time, and it becomes this big area above the all-time high. Remember, the all-time high is just below at 44.74.75. It was last week's high as well. We don't see much of an offer here at the 44.75. We'll see how things change once we open, but we don't see much in terms of order flow defending that top. So this is where the stock zone comes from, and the expectation is it pushes through into the 80. I have a stock zone at the 80 here at 79 or so as a result of a measured move, and it's backed up by the 80 offer, high liquidity offer right there. So what is this saying? Here's what we've got in the overnight session. We've got a relatively weak low right here, intermediate low at 45.50. So we want to see that it is holding, and if it does respond, remember the expectation is always that the market is likely to respond lower at the open, right? If you are holding a profit from down here and you come in and you have a market that's up 10 points or more, or whatever, almost, yeah, about 17 points from the high volume area down below, then you're likely to be a seller or partial seller. We'd want to watch this 44, 45 area. So that's what we're looking at. So as we look into today's action, we want to look for that responsive selling and then a push through the point of control, the overnight point of control, and then a squeak through to newer highs. Okay. Let's take a look at what's expected for today. By the way, those of you who are in Convergent, who didn't see my note from last night while I shared my homework, I will be shutting down early today. We are moving. The EdgeClear team needs more space, and my office is within EdgeClear's office, and we're moving to the Board of Trade. Let me show you here the view of it. See that building right there? Right there? That's the Board of Trade. So this is the last time I'm getting this view south in the loop towards the Board of Trade, and we're moving in there after the close today. I just thought that would be fun to share with you. Let's take a look at what's expected for today. This is too much range. The primary scenario for this morning. Primary scenario for this morning, open auction at response. I'm expecting that 45 area to hold. Remember, 45 here is important. If we give up the 45, we are likely to push right back into the point of control Friday, which is 44.37. I'm expecting this to hold. I'm looking for a squeeze into the 57 singles right here. This area has quite a bit going on right here at in the 60. Consolidate. I'm expecting a relatively choppy day today, and then eventually we're likely to squeeze higher. Who knows how high it would go. My expectations aren't very high for today in terms of range, but 12 points very, very possible in today's session. Secondary, we open up, we squeeze immediately, take out the overnight high of 44.55 even, consolidate at the 60, poke through, and then get responsive back to 52, consolidate, take out the 40, test the 45, take out the 45, and back into balance. We end up with a higher high and a higher low, no matter what, most likely. But we end up with a responsive market that comes into balance. We have quite a bit of volume here in this 44.38 area, as I talked about. You can see there's a point of control here. There's a point of control here. So I'm considering that 44.38 as a continued magnet to pull prices down. So don't be too shocked if we get scenario 2 as the main scenario for today. Otherwise, the market is going to continue to float, is likely to continue to float higher as it has been since the bottom has been temporarily found. Okay? Good luck today, and I'll catch you tomorrow from a new background, new office, a new space. I love change, and change is coming. Take care.